The wedding planning meeting at the Grand Meridian Hotel should have been about my brother Derek's upcoming marriage. Instead, it became another itemized list of my financial failures. And for Cara's meal, my mother Linda announced to the event coordinator, she'll have the children's menu option. The chicken fingers, I think. I sat at the end of the conference table, laptop open with emails I was pretending to read. At 32, I'd stopped being surprised by my family's casual humiliations, but chicken fingers at my brother's wedding felt like a new low. The coordinator glanced at me with obvious discomfort. Ma'am, the children's menu is typically for guests 12 and under. Cara can't afford the premium dinner option, my mother interrupted, not bothering to lower her voice. She works retail. We're already paying for her bridesmaid dress. The least she can do is choose something economical. I worked retail. That's how my family described my career for the past decade. Technically accurate, I did work in retail. What they failed to mention was that I owned Lux Hospitality Group, a boutique hotel and resort management company I'd built from a single struggling bed and breakfast into a portfolio of 12 luxury properties across the East Coast, including the Grand Meridian Hotel where we were currently sitting, where my brother was getting married in 6 weeks, where my mother was trying to order me chicken fingers to save money at a venue I'd acquired 3 months ago. The children's menu is fine, I said quietly, closing my laptop. Whatever's easiest. Derek's fiancée Melissa looked uncomfortable. Cara, you don't have to. It's fine, I repeated. I'm not picky. My father Robert cleared his throat. Cara's always been practical about money. Not like some people who live beyond their means. He glanced at Derek. Your sister understands financial responsibility, even if her career choices have been modest. Modest career choices. I'd started Lux Hospitality at 22 with a business loan and a property everyone thought was unsalvageable. 10 years later, my company managed over $200 million in hotel assets and employed 300 people. Last year's revenue was $15 million. But to my family, I worked retail. Probably as a sales associate at the mall. Now about seating arrangements, my mother continued, pulling out her chart. Derek and Melissa at the head table, obviously. Our family at table 2, Robert's business associates at table 3. She tapped a table near the kitchen service entrance. Cara can sit at table 12 with some of Melissa's distant cousins. The singles table, basically. Table 12 is behind a support column, the coordinator said carefully. Guests won't have a clear view of the ceremony or speeches. Cara won't mind, my mother said. She's used to being in the background. Besides, we need the prominent tables for Derek's colleagues from the investment firm and Melissa's family. They're successful people. Professional people. The implication was clear. I was neither. Melissa spoke up again. Mrs. Morrison, maybe we should reconsider. This wedding has a certain image to maintain, my mother interrupted. Derek works at Sterling Investments. Melissa's father is a surgeon. We're inviting business leaders and medical professionals. We can't have Cara sitting prominently when people ask what she does and she has to say she works retail. I checked my phone under the table. An email from my CFO Richard. Grand Meridian acquisition finalized. You're officially the new owner. Morrison Wedding Party has requested several contract modifications, waiving venue fee, complimentary upgrades, etc. How do you want to handle? I typed back. Honor original contract exactly as written. No modifications. Standard pricing applies to everyone including family. Cara, are you even listening? My mother's sharp voice cut through. Sorry, work email. Work email. My father laughed. What kind of work emails do retail workers get? Sale notifications. Derek shifted uncomfortably. Dad, that's not fair. It's fine, I said. The words had become my mantra over the years. The coordinator reviewed the rest of the details. Flowers, music, photography timeline. Then she addressed the final item. The venue fee and catering deposit are due next week, she said. The total comes to $48,000 for the complete package you've selected. My mother nodded. We'll have the check ready. Though I do want to discuss the possibility of a family discount. Cara works here after all. Surely she can arrange something. The coordinator looked confused. I'm sorry, works here? She works in retail, my mother explained slowly. Hotels have gift shops, don't they? Cara could put in a good word with her manager. Mom, I said quietly, I don't work at the hotel gift shop. Well, wherever you work, dear. The point is, you must have some connection here that could help with pricing. The coordinator glanced at her tablet, her eyes widening. Mrs. Morrison, I should mention that the Grand Meridian was recently acquired by Lux Hospitality Group. All pricing and contracts are set by the new ownership. Then we'll speak with the new owner, my father said dismissively. Surely they'd appreciate the business. I'm sure they would appreciate it, the coordinator said carefully, her eyes flicking to me. But the owner is quite firm about maintaining standard pricing. My phone buzzed. Another text from Richard. Property manager says your family is requesting to speak with ownership about discounts. Want me to handle it? I typed, I'll handle it personally. Give it 15 minutes. The meeting concluded with my mother satisfied. Premium meals for important guests, children's menu for me, prominent seating for professionals, background positioning for the retail worker sister. As everyone stood to leave, the hotel owner walked in. Actually, the former hotel owner. Gerald Hendricks had sold the Grand Meridian to my company 3 months ago but had stayed on during transition. He was a kind man in his 60s who'd been thrilled his property was going to someone who understood hospitality. Excuse me, Gerald said, entering with a folder of papers. I apologize for the interruption, but I need Ms. Morrison's signature on the final acquisition documents. My mother looked around, confused. We're the Morrisons. Which one? Miss Cara Morrison, Gerald clarified, walking directly to me. The new owner of the Grand Meridian Hotel. The room fell into stunned silence. My father recovered first. There must be some mistake. No mistake, Gerald said pleasantly, setting papers in front of me. Ms. Morrison's company, Lux Hospitality Group, completed the acquisition of this property last quarter. I'm finishing the transition, but as of next week, she's the sole owner and operator of the Grand Meridian. My mother's face had gone white. Cara, what is he talking about? I own this hotel, I said simply, signing the documents. And 11 others across the East Coast. Lux Hospitality Group is my company. I founded it 10 years ago. Derek sat down heavily. You own, but you work retail. You said you work retail. I do work in retail hospitality, I corrected. Hotel management is part of the retail hospitality industry. You all just assumed I meant I was a sales associate somewhere. The coordinator was trying unsuccessfully to hide her smile. Melissa found her voice first. Cara, you own a hotel management company? 12 properties actually. Well, 13 now. I gestured around the room. The Grand Meridian is my newest acquisition. We purchased it because it fits perfectly with our boutique luxury brand positioning. My father's face had transitioned from white to red. You've owned a company this entire time and never told us? I tried to tell you. Multiple times. I kept my voice calm. At Thanksgiving 3 years ago, I mentioned expanding my hospitality business into new markets. You changed the subject to Derek's promotion. Last Christmas, I brought up acquiring a property in Virginia. Mom interrupted to discuss Derek and Melissa's engagement. At Easter, I started to explain my company's revenue growth, and Dad asked if I'd considered getting a real job yet. Gerald interjected quietly. If I may, Ms. Morrison's company has an exceptional reputation in the industry. Her properties consistently outperform market averages in both guest satisfaction and profitability. When she approached me about acquiring the Grand Meridian, I was honored. Several corporate chains had made offers, but I wanted my hotel to go to someone who would maintain its character. My mother gripped the table. But the chicken fingers. I ordered you chicken fingers because you can't afford. The $45 entree? I finished. Mom, I can afford it. Last year, Lux Hospitality Group generated $15 million in revenue. I personally took home about $2 million after expenses. I think I can manage the premium dinner option. The coordinator cleared her throat. Speaking of which, Mrs. Morrison, about the family discount you requested. There is no family discount, I said firmly. The original contract stands. $48,000 for the venue and catering package. Standard pricing applies to everyone, including family members who assume I work at a mall kiosk. Derek looked genuinely distressed. Cara, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Of course you didn't, I said. You never asked. None of you did. You saw retail hospitality and assumed the worst. You've spent 10 years explaining to people that I work retail with the same apologetic tone you'd use to say I'm unemployed. Melissa touched Derek's arm. We should have asked more questions about your life. Yes, I agreed simply. You should have. My mother had found her voice again weak. Cara, sweetheart, if we'd known about your success. What? You would have treated me differently? Given me the premium meal? Seated me with the important guests instead of behind a support column? I stood up, gathering my laptop. That's exactly the problem, Mom. My worth to this family shouldn't depend on my bank account or job title. I'm Derek's sister. That should have been enough. Gerald had been watching this exchange with discomfort. Ms. Morrison, I can return later for those signatures. No, it's fine. We're done here. I signed the final documents. Gerald, thank you for making this transition so smooth. I'm excited about what we can do with the Grand Meridian. The pleasure is mine. And if I may say, your family should be very proud of you. They will be, my father said quickly, his tone shifting to something approaching respect. We are proud. We just didn't understand the scope of Cara's enterprise. My enterprise that you thought was working a mall retail job, I said. But sure, Dad. Now that you know the scope, you're proud. The coordinator spoke up hesitantly. Ms. Morrison, about the wedding contract. Should I prepare any modifications? No modifications, I said clearly. The Morrison wedding will proceed exactly as contracted. $48,000 for venue and catering. No discounts, no upgrades, no special treatment. They wanted to rent the Grand Meridian for their important professional wedding, and that's exactly what they'll get. Standard client treatment. My mother looked panicked. Cara, surely we can discuss. There's nothing to discuss, Mom. You negotiated a contract with the previous owner. That contract is valid and will be honored. You'll get exactly what you paid for. A beautiful venue, excellent service, and meals that correspond to what you ordered. Including my chicken fingers. Derek stood up. Cara, please. Let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, Derek. Enjoy your wedding. It'll be beautiful. The Grand Meridian is an exceptional venue, which is exactly why I acquired it. I picked up my laptop bag. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a transition meeting with the property management team. I walked toward the door then paused. Oh, and Mom? About the seating arrangements. I'll stay at table 12 behind the support column. I wouldn't want to disrupt your careful planning by sitting with the successful professional people. Might be awkward when they ask what I do and I have to say I own the building they're standing in. The wedding day arrived 6 weeks later. True to my word, I'd made no modifications to the contract. The Grand Meridian looked spectacular. My team had implemented upgrades across the property. Derek and Melissa were getting married at one of the most prestigious boutique hotels on the East Coast, completely unaware their venue was now worth 30% more than when they'd booked it. I wore a simple navy dress and sat at table 12 behind the support column. The chicken fingers arrived as ordered, perfectly prepared because my culinary team didn't do anything halfway, even for children's menu items. From my partially obstructed view, I watched Derek and Melissa exchange vows. They looked happy. I was genuinely glad for them. During the reception, guests circulated. Several of Derek's colleagues from Sterling Investments stopped by table 12, looking uncomfortable. You're Cara Morrison? One asked. From Lux Hospitality Group? That's right. I heard you just acquired the Grand Meridian. This property is spectacular. We've been looking at hospitality investments for our portfolio. Would you be open to a conversation about partnership opportunities? Possibly. Have your people contact my CFO. I handed him a business card. After he left, another colleague appeared. Then another. Word had spread quickly that the bride's sister sitting at the obstructed view table with chicken fingers was actually the owner of the venue and CEO of a $15 million hospitality company. My mother approached midway through dinner, her expression a mixture of embarrassment and forced brightness. Cara, darling, people are asking about you. About your company. Perhaps you'd like to move to a better table where you can network more easily. I'm fine here, Mom. You said table 12 was appropriate for someone like me. I wouldn't want to disrupt your careful social planning. But sweetheart, we didn't understand. You didn't ask, I corrected gently. For 10 years you didn't ask. You assumed the worst and treated me accordingly. The fact that you want to change my seating now that you know I'm successful proves exactly why I didn't fight harder to correct your assumptions. She flinched. That's not fair. Isn't it? Would you be moving me to a better table if I actually was a mall retail worker? Would Derek's colleagues be interested in networking with me? Would Dad have introduced me to his business associates if he still thought I sold merchandise for minimum wage? She had no answer. The evening continued. I stayed at table 12, ate my chicken fingers and watched my brother's wedding from behind a support column. Several business cards found their way to my table. 3 serious investment inquiries. 1 acquisition offer for my entire company that I politely declined. As the reception wound down, Derek found me. He looked tired but happy, his tie loosened and jacket discarded. Cara, can we talk? Of course. Congratulations. The wedding was beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for making it beautiful. The hotel looks incredible. He sat down in the empty chair beside me. I'm sorry. For everything. For not knowing about your company, for not asking questions, for letting Mom and Dad treat you like you were less than. You didn't let them do anything, Derek. You participated. He nodded slowly. You're right. I did. And I'm ashamed of that. He paused. Can we start over? Can I actually get to know my sister? I considered the question carefully. Derek looked genuinely remorseful, and he'd always been kinder than our parents, even if oblivious. We can start fresh, I said finally. But it requires actual effort. Actual questions about my life. Actual interest that doesn't depend on my bank account. Deal. He looked at the half-eaten chicken fingers. I'm really sorry about those. Don't be. They're actually pretty good. My culinary director doesn't cut corners, even on children's menu items. Derek laughed, slightly hysterical. You had your own staff prepare your punishment meal. It wasn't a punishment, Derek. It was a choice. Mom's choice to order me chicken fingers because she thought I couldn't afford better. My choice to accept them because I didn't need to prove anything. I smiled. Though I admit, there's something satisfying about eating a $7 meal at a venue I own while my family's $48,000 bill sits in accounts receivable. You're really not giving us a discount? Not a penny. You negotiated a contract based on who you thought I was. You get to honor that contract based on who I actually am. He absorbed this, then nodded. Fair enough. We deserve that. As Derek returned to his bride, I looked around the Grand Meridian, my newest property, the venue I'd transformed in 6 weeks, the hotel where my family was celebrating while I ate chicken fingers behind a column. They'd given me the children's menu because they thought I couldn't afford better. They'd seated me far from important guests because they assumed I wasn't one. They'd been catastrophically wrong. And now they knew it. But the real satisfaction wasn't in their embarrassment or belated recognition. It was in knowing I'd built something remarkable while they weren't paying attention. That I'd succeeded despite their low expectations, not because of their support. They could see me now, finally, clearly, completely. But I'd been here all along, building an empire they'd dismissed as retail work, proving worth that had never required their validation. Though watching them scramble to understand what they'd missed, that was deeply, profoundly satisfying.